Commander Taiwan Park could not believe his eyes. Through the clear dome of Luna Base Alpha, he watched as the alien ship moved closer. It was unlike anything humans had ever built, shiny, almost see-through, and shaped like a giant teardrop. Taiwan had been in charge of Earth's moon base for 5 years, but nothing in his training had prepared him for this. All personnel to alert stations, he ordered, his voice steady despite his racing heart. But no weapons. I repeat, no weapons active. The crew around him moved quickly but carefully. Some looked scared, others excited. Taiwan checked his uniform and straightened his back. He would be the first human to officially meet beings from another world. "Sir, they're sending some kind of message," said Jin Ho, the communications officer. His fingers moved fast over his screen. It's in English." Taiwan blinked in surprise. "Put it on the main screen." The message was simple. "We come in peace and great need. Permission to dock." After getting approval from Earth Command, Taiwan granted permission. The alien ship connected to their airlock with technology that seemed to adjust itself perfectly to match human engineering. The inner door of the airlock opened, and Taiwan held his breath. What stepped through was not a creature of flesh and blood, but a being made of light. It stood roughly human-shaped but glowed with a soft blue light. Where a face should be, there were only patterns of brighter light that shifted and changed. "I am Elix, ambassador of the Luminary and representative of the Galactic Council," the being said. Its voice seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. "Thank you for allowing this meeting." Taiwan bowed slightly. "Commander Taiwan Park of Earth's United Space Command, we welcome you to Luna Base Alpha." Elix's light dimmed slightly, almost as if sighing. "I wish our first contact could be under better circumstances, Commander. We have been watching your species for some time, but we had planned to wait another century before introducing ourselves." "What changed?" Taiwan asked. "Necessity," Elix replied. "A great danger threatens not just your solar system, but all life in this part of the galaxy." In the base's conference room, Elix projected images into the air. They showed something dark moving through space, swallowing stars and planets in its path. "We call it the Void," Elix explained. "It is not alive as you understand life, but it has purpose. It consumes energy, matter, even light itself. Our scientists believe it may be a tear in the fabric of space-time, growing larger with everything it absorbs." Taiwan studied the images carefully. "With respect, Ambassador, if your civilization is advanced enough for interstellar travel, surely you have the technology to stop this thing." "We thought so too." Elix's light patterns shifted to patterns that somehow conveyed sadness. "We have tried for over 50 years. Our weapons pass through it. Our shields fail against it. Our greatest minds cannot find a solution." "Then why come to us? Earth has only just begun to explore our own solar system." Elix moved closer. "Because your species has something the Galactic Council has observed and values greatly. Humans possess an ability to think differently when facing extinction. Your history shows this pattern repeatedly. When pushed to your limits, you find solutions no one else can see." Taiwan frowned. "You want our help because we're primitive." "No, Commander. We want your help because you're innovative in ways we no longer are. Advanced civilization brings many benefits, but it can also create rigid thinking. We have watched your people overcome impossible odds with limited resources and creative solutions." Elix's form brightened. "The Void will reach your solar system in 1 Earth year. With or without your help, we will fight it. But the Council believes humanity might see possibilities that we cannot." Taiwan looked out the window at the distant blue sphere of Earth, home to 8 billion people who knew nothing about the danger coming their way. "I'll need to contact Earth's leaders immediately," he said. "Of course," Elix replied. "But please convey our urgency. The Void grows stronger with each system it consumes." As Taiwan prepared the message to Earth, he wondered how humanity would respond to this news. Fear, panic, or perhaps with the determination that had carried his species from caves to the stars. The fate of Earth, and perhaps the galaxy, would soon depend on the answer. The news of alien contact spread quickly on Earth. At first, many people did not believe it. Then came fear, but soon, a sense of purpose grew. If aliens needed human help, Earth would answer the call. In Seoul, Director Hee-Jun Kim of the United Nations Extraterrestrial Response Division sat at the head of a large table. The room was filled with important people from around the world. On screens along the walls, more leaders watched and listened. The luminary have given us access to their data about the void, Hee-Jun said. His voice was calm, but his eyes showed how serious the situation was. We have less than a year before it reaches our solar system. A general from America stood up. We should focus on evacuation plans. The luminary have ships. Their ships cannot take even 1% of Earth's people. Hee-Jun cut in. And where would we go? The void is consuming everything in its path. He pressed a button, and a hologram appeared above the table. It showed the dark mass of the void moving through space, swallowing stars. We fight, Hee-Jun said simply. We find a way to stop this thing. After 3 days of meetings, they made a plan. Earth would send its best minds to work with the Galactic Council. Hee-Jun would lead the selection process personally. In his office later that night, Hee-Jun looked at hundreds of files on his screen. He needed people who could think in new ways. People who saw solutions where others saw only problems. When morning came, he had his list. Dr. Ji-Soo Wang was teaching her physics class. When government agents came for her, her students watched in surprise as she left with them without argument. Your theories about dimensional space have been rejected by most of your peers, Hee-Jun said when they met. But the luminary found them interesting. Ji-Soo smiled a little. Sometimes being wrong in the right way is more useful than being right in the old way. They found Colonel Da-Hyun Choi training soldiers in the mountains. He was known for winning battles that seemed impossible to win. I'm not a scientist, he told Hee-Jun. What good is a soldier against something that eats stars? The void is not just a science problem, Hee-Jun replied. It's a battle, and you see patterns in chaos that others miss. Engineer Soo-Min Kang was harder to convince. Her workshop was filled with half-finished inventions. She had left her job at a big company to work on her own ideas. The world's best scientists can't solve this, but you think I can? She asked. Hee-Jun pointed to a strange machine in the corner. What is that? A nanofabricator. It builds things molecule by molecule, she said. Everyone said it was impossible. It took me 3 years. That's exactly why we need you, Hee-Jun said. You make the impossible possible. Dun Ji-Yoon was a surprise choice to many. She was a linguist and diplomat who had helped end 3 conflicts through peaceful talks. The void isn't something we can talk to, an advisor complained to Hee-Jun. Are we sure? Hee-Jun asked. Yoon-ji doesn't just understand languages. She understands intentions, needs, wants. If the void has any kind of purpose, she might sense it. The last member of the team was pilot Hyun Woo-ba. He had set records in every aircraft he flew. Some said his reflexes were almost superhuman. I'll fly anything you put me in, he told Hee-Jun. But I work alone. Not anymore, Hee-Jun said firmly. This mission needs all of you working together. 1 week later, all 5 stood on the landing pad at Luna Base Alpha. Commander Ta-Won greeted them as the luminary ship approached. You've been chosen not for what humanity is now, Hee-Jun told the team, but for what humanity could become. The alien ship landed, its crystal surface gleaming in the sunlight. Elix emerged, glowing brighter when he saw the assembled humans. The council awaits, Elix said. Many doubt that your species can help. They see you as too young, too inexperienced. Good, Da-Hyun said with a smile. Being underestimated is an advantage. As they boarded the alien ship, Ji-Soo looked back at Earth shining in the darkness of space. We'll be back, she whispered. with a way to save you. The ship's doors close, and humanity's best hope left Earth behind. They were heading to the stars to face a challenge no species had ever overcome. The real test was about to begin. The luminary ship moved faster than anything humans had ever built. Stars blurred outside the windows as they traveled. Inside, the 5 humans tried to adjust to their new reality. "We will reach the Galactic Council headquarters in 3 Earth days," Elix told them. "You should use this time to learn about the other species you will meet." Elix showed them images of aliens from across the galaxy. Some looked almost like animals from Earth. There were lizard-like beings, furry creatures, and even some that looked a bit like tall, thin humans. Others were completely strange, clouds of gas, crystalline structures, and beings made of pure energy like the luminary. "The Council has 53 member species," Elix explained. "Most have been space travelers for thousands of years. Many do not believe humans are ready to join this fight." Jisoo nodded. "They think we're too primitive." The humans spent hours studying alien technology in the ship's learning center. The information was overwhelming, but each focused on their strengths. Jisoo worked on understanding the science of the void. Sumin examined alien engineering. Dahyun studied battle records of previous attempts to stop the void. On the second day, they met other aliens traveling to the council meeting. A group of insect-like beings with 4 arms and shiny green shells approached them in the ship's dining area. "So these are the humans," said one in a clicking voice that the ship's systems translated. "They look so soft and weak." "The kitten are not known for their manners," Elix told the humans quietly. Hyunwoo started to say something angry, but Yeonji touched his arm to stop him. "We are new to space travel," she said to the kitten, "but we are eager to learn from more experienced species. Perhaps you could share your wisdom." The kitten seemed surprised by her respectful approach. They joined the humans at their table. Soon, they were explaining their role in the fight against the void. "Our ships are the fastest in the council fleet," one kitten boasted, "but even we cannot outrun the void's pull once it notices us." Sumin had been quiet, studying the small device the kitten had placed on the table. "Your propulsion system," she said suddenly. "May I see the design?" The kitten laughed. "You would not understand it, human. Try me," Sumin said with a small smile. Reluctantly, the kitten showed her a 3D model of their engine design on a datapad. Sumin studied it for several minutes, then began to draw changes on the screen. "Your energy flow moves in straight lines," she explained. "If you adjust it to move in spirals, like this, you could increase efficiency by at least 20%. The kitten stared at her changes, their antennae twitching in surprise. That's impossible," one said. "It's just a different way of thinking," Sumin replied. "Sometimes fresh eyes see things differently." Word of Sumin's insights spread quickly through the ship. Soon, other aliens saw out the humans, curious about these newcomers. On the 3rd day, the ship entered a simulation chamber where the council tested combat strategies against the void. Colonel Dahyun was invited to observe as alien commanders ran their battle plans. "Your ships always maintain safe distances from each other," Dahyun noted after watching several simulations fail. "Why?" "To prevent collisions, of course," said a 4-armed Vexor commander. "And to maintain cover positions." Dahyun shook his head. "May I try something different?" The alien commanders looked doubtful, but allowed him to program a new simulation. Dahyun positioned the ships in what looked like a chaotic pattern. When the simulation started, his ships moved in unpredictable ways, sometimes coming dangerously close to each other. "This is madness," the Vexor shouted. "You'll destroy half your fleet." But in the simulation, Dahyun's ships lasted 3 times longer against the void than previous attempts. "You fight as though you expect to always have the advantage of numbers and technology," Dahyun explained. "Humans have often fought knowing we are outmatched. We learn to be unpredictable, to take calculated risks." As the luminary ship approached the massive space station that served as the Council headquarters, the 5 humans stood together at the viewing window. The station was enormous, like a city floating in space, with thousands of ships coming and going. "They're all counting on us," Jisoo said quietly. "Then we won't let them down," Dahyun replied. As they prepared to dock, a message came from the Council. The humans were not to be presented as equals but as study subjects, curiosities brought in for examination. "I'm sorry," Ilix said. "Many Council members still see humans as primitive." Hyunwoo smiled. "That's fine. Let them underestimate us. It won't be the first time," Yunji added, "and it probably won't be the last." The Galactic Council chamber was huge. Thousands of seats rose in circles around a central platform. Each seat held a different alien species. Some were giants that barely fit in their spaces. Others were so small they needed special chairs to be seen. The 5 humans stood on the central platform, feeling very small. "We welcome our guests from Earth," announced the Council leader, a tall blue being with 6 eyes. "They have been brought here to observe and perhaps offer insights into our fight against the Void." Jisoo noticed how the leader said "guests" and "observe" instead of "allies" and "help." The aliens still didn't take humans seriously. "The Void has destroyed 17 star systems," the leader continued. "It will reach Earth's solar system in less than 1 Earth year. We must act quickly." Images appeared in the air above them. The Void looked like a dark storm in space, growing larger with each system it swallowed. "Our best scientists have studied this threat for decades," said a floating alien made of what looked like purple smoke. "We believe it is a natural event, a hole in space-time that feeds on energy." Jisoo stepped forward. "May I speak?" The Council leader seemed surprised but nodded. "Thank you for sharing your research," Jisoo said politely. "But I believe there's something you've missed." A murmur ran through the crowd. Many aliens looked offended. "I've been studying your data," Jisoo continued. "The Void doesn't move like a natural event. It changes direction to target star systems. It avoids your traps. It learns." "Are you suggesting it's alive?" asked a rock-like alien. "Not alive as we understand life," Jisoo replied. "But I think it has a kind of awareness." The Council erupted in loud debate. Many aliens dismissed Jisoo's idea as primitive thinking. "Silence," ordered the Council leader. "Let the human explain further." Jisoo took a deep breath. "The Void isn't just consuming matter. It's feeding on potential, on futures that haven't happened yet." She used the Council's own technology to display new images. They showed strange patterns around the edges of the Void. "These are temporal distortions," she explained. "Time itself bends near the Void. That's why your weapons fail. You're fighting it only in the present moment, but it exists partly in the future." The Council chamber grew quiet as the alien studied her evidence. "This is unexpected," the Council leader admitted. "If true, it changes everything." "How would you fight such a thing?" asked the purple smoke alien. Dahyun stepped forward. "You need to attack it across multiple time points simultaneously. If it exists partly in the future, we need weapons that affect past, present, and future at once." "Impossible," shouted several aliens. Sumin joined her teammates. "Not impossible. Difficult, yes, but not impossible. Your technology can be adapted." The Council debated for hours. Finally, they agreed to let the humans join a special research team to test their theories. In the following days, the humans worked alongside alien scientists. At first, the aliens treated them like children. But soon, the humans' ideas began to change their thinking. Jisoo spent every waking hour in the lab, studying the Void's patterns. Late one night, she made a discovery that changed everything. "Look at this," she told her teammates, pointing to a screen. "The Void doesn't just move toward energy sources. It moves away from certain types of radiation. It's avoiding something," Yunji said. "Like it's afraid." "Exactly," Jisoo nodded. It's not just destroying, it's protecting itself. Su-min studied the data. If we can create enough of this radiation, we might be able to push it away from populated systems, or trap it, Da-hyun added. Word of their discovery spread quickly through the council. The humans were no longer seen as primitive observers, but as valuable allies. One morning, alarms sounded throughout the space station. The council gathered in emergency session. The void has changed course, the council leader announced, fear clear in all 6 of their eyes. It's moving faster than ever before. New calculations show it will reach Earth's solar system in just 30 days. Gasps filled the chamber. The humans looked at each other in shock. Why? Hyunwoo asked. Why is it heading straight for Earth now? Jisoo's face went pale as she studied the new data. It knows, she whispered. Somehow, it knows we've discovered its weakness. It's not just heading for Earth. It's coming for us. Yeonji finished. The race to save Earth had just become much more urgent. The humans now had only 30 days to find a way to stop the void, or watch their homeworld be the next to die. The news that the void was now heading straight for Earth created panic in the Galactic Council. Many alien species began to argue about what to do. We should focus our defenses on more developed worlds, said the leader of the Kitten. Earth is just one planet. We cannot abandon them, Ilix argued, especially now that the void seems to be targeting them. While the council argued, the 5 humans met in their private quarters to make their own plan. We don't have time for more debates, Da-hyun said. We need to act now. Jisoo spread out her notes on a table. I've been thinking about something. If the void exists partly in the future, maybe we can use that against it. How? Asked Hyunwoo. We build a device I'm calling a dimensional anchor, Jisoo explained. It would force the void to exist only in the present, making it easier to contain or redirect. Su-min looked at Jisoo's designs. I could build this, but we'd need materials that Earth doesn't have. The council has them, Yeonji said. But will they give them to us? They brought their plan to the council. Many aliens doubted it would work, but with no better options and time running out, they agreed to help. While Su-min and Jisoo worked on building the dimensional anchor, Yeonji made an important discovery of her own. She had been studying small fragments of the void that alien ships had managed to capture. Most scientists saw these fragments as just dark matter, but Yeonji sensed something more. She spent hours sitting quietly near the container holding a void fragment, trying to feel any patterns or intentions from it. There's something there, she told the others one evening. It's not just destroying things randomly. It's searching for something. Searching for what? Da-hyun asked. I don't know yet, Yeonji admitted, but I feel fear from it. Deep, ancient fear. Meanwhile, Hyunwoo worked with alien pilots to design new ships that could get close enough to the void to deliver Jisoo's device. Your ships are too predictable, he told them. The void learns your patterns and adjusts. We need to be random, unexpected. The alien engineers were confused, but that would be dangerous for the pilots, one said. Yes, Hyunwoo agreed. Sometimes the only way through danger is straight through it. Under Hyunwoo's guidance, they modified several small, fast ships. They removed many safety systems to make the ships faster and more maneuverable. No alien would fly these death traps, complained a Vexar engineer. Hyunwoo smiled. Good thing you've got humans, then. As the day of the mission approached, the Galactic Council held one final meeting. The 5 humans stood before them, ready to present their plan. The void will reach Earth's solar system in 10 days, Jisoo explained. We propose to intercept it before it gets there. She showed them the dimensional anchor device that she and Su-min had built. It was smaller than most aliens expected, about the size of a small car. This will stabilize the void in present time, Jisoo said. Once it's anchored, we can use the radiation it fears to guide it away from populated systems, or into a contained area, Su-min added, a place where it can exist without harming others. "And who will deliver this device?" asked the council leader. "The void destroys any ship that gets too close." Dahyun stepped forward. "We will, the five of us." Shocked whispers filled the council chamber. "This is suicide," said the purple smoke alien. "Maybe," Yunji said calmly. "But I've made a connection with the void. I might be able to communicate with it, distract it while the others place the anchor." The council debated the plan for hours. Finally, the council leader spoke. "We have tried our ways for 50 years and failed. Now we will try the human way." The next day, the humans prepared for their mission. They were given a special ship, modified according to Hyunwoo's designs. It was faster and more agile than any in the council fleet. As they boarded, Elix approached them. "When we brought you here, we expected you to provide insights from a safe distance, not to risk your lives." "That's the difference," Taiwan said, joining them at the last minute. "Humans don't send others to fight our battles." The 6 humans entered the ship. As the door closed behind them, they looked at each other with determined faces. "For Earth," Jisoo said. "For all worlds," Yunji added. Hyunwoo took the pilot's seat and fired up the engines. "Let's show the galaxy what humans can do." The human ship flew toward the Proxima Centauri system, the closest star to Earth. The void had already reached this system and was growing larger as it consumed the energy of the star. Behind the human ship, a fleet of alien vessels followed at a safe distance. The Galactic Council had sent their best ships to help, but they would not get too close to the void. On the main screen of the human ship, the void looked like a giant black storm in space. Lightning-like energy flashed inside it as it pulled in matter from the dying star. "It's bigger than in the reports," Taiwan said, his voice quiet. Hyunwoo checked the ship's systems. "We're still outside its pull range. Once we get closer, things will get rough." Jisoo and Sumin made final checks on the dimensional anchor device. It sat in the center of the ship, glowing with a soft blue light. "The anchor is ready," Sumin reported, "but we'll need to get within 5,000 kilometers of the void center to deploy it." Dahyun frowned. "No ship has ever gotten that close and escaped." "Then we'll be the first," Hyunwoo said with a confident smile. Yunji sat in a special chair, connected to sensors that would help her try to communicate with the void. Her eyes were closed as she prepared herself mentally. "I can feel it already," she whispered. "It knows we're here." The ship's communication system lit up as the Vexar Admiral called from the flagship. "Humans, this is your last chance to turn back," the Admiral said. "Our sensors show the void is growing more active. It seems to be reacting to your approach." "Thank you for your concern, Admiral," Taiwan replied. "But we're continuing with the mission." The Admiral nodded. "Then we will follow the plan. Our ships will create a diversion to draw the void's attention while you approach from the opposite side." The human ship moved closer to the void. Outside the windows, space itself seemed to bend and twist. Entering the outer gravity field, Hyunwoo announced, "Everyone hold on." The ship began to shake as forces pulled at it from all directions. Warning lights flashed across the control panels. "The alien fleet is in position," Dahyun reported. "They're beginning their attack." On the screens, they watched as hundreds of alien ships fired energy weapons at the void from a safe distance. The weapons seemed to disappear into the darkness without effect. "It's not working," Sumin said. "The void is ignoring them." "It's focused on us," Yunji said, her eyes still closed. "It knows what we're trying to do." Suddenly, the ship lurched to one side as a tendril of darkness reached out from the void toward them. "Evasive maneuvers," Ta-1 ordered. Hyunwoo's hands flew over the controls. The ship rolled and twisted in ways its designers never intended. The tendril missed them by meters. "It's hunting us specifically," Dahyun said. "The diversion isn't working." "Then we changed the plan," Ta-1 decided. "Hyunwoo, take us in faster." "Dahyun, tell the alien fleet to try something new." Dahyun sent a quick message to the Vexar Admiral. I'm suggesting a new formation. Have the ships move in random patterns, never repeating the same movement twice. The admiral seemed confused. That violates all fleet protocols. Ships could collide. Better than being consumed by the void, Da-hyun replied. Trust me. Reluctantly, the admiral agreed. The alien ships broke their neat formation and began to move in chaotic patterns. Almost immediately, tendrils from the void began reaching for them, but the unpredictable movements made them harder to catch. It's working, Sumin exclaimed. The void can't predict their movements. With the void distracted, Hyunwoo pushed their ship closer to its center. The shaking grew worse. Equipment broke free and flew around the cabin. Hull temperature rising, Taiwan warned. We can't take much more of this. Just a little closer, Jisoo said, watching the distance counter. 3,000 kilometers to optimal deployment range. Suddenly, a massive tendril shot out from the void directly at them. There was no time to avoid it. Brace for impact, Hyunwoo shouted. The darkness hit the ship with tremendous force. Alarms blared as systems failed throughout the vessel. We're being pulled in, Ta-won yelled over the noise. Through the chaos, Yoonji's voice came with surprising calm. Let it happen. Everyone stared at her. The void is curious about us, she explained, her eyes now open and glowing with strange light. I can feel it. It wants to know what we are. We'll be dead if it pulls us in completely, Da-hyun argued. No, Yoonji said. It's taking us exactly where we need to be. As the ship was dragged toward the heart of the void, the humans could only watch and hope that Yoonji was right. Inside the void, there was no up or down, no left or right. The human ship floated in pure darkness. The only light came from the ship itself and the glowing blue dimensional anchor. All communications are dead, Todwan reported. The fleet can't hear us. They probably think we're dead, Da-hyun said. Hyunwoo checked the ship's systems. Power is down to 40%. Life support is stable for now, but we don't have much time. Everyone looked at Jisoo. Are we close enough to use the anchor? Sumin asked. Jisoo studied the readings on her screen. We're exactly where we need to be. We're in the heart of the void. The team moved quickly to prepare the dimensional anchor. Sumin and Jisoo made final adjustments, while Da-hyun and Taiwan secured it to the launch mechanism. Once we activate it, we'll have about 10 minutes to get clear, Jisoo explained. The anchor will force the void to exist only in present time. That should slow it down and make it vulnerable to the radiation weapons. If we can get out in time, Hyunwoo said. Yoonji had been silent, her eyes closed in deep concentration. Now she spoke. Wait. There's something you all need to know before we do this. Everyone turned to look at her. I've been trying to communicate with the void, she said. And I've learned something important. The void isn't evil. It's afraid. Afraid of what? Taiwan asked. Of ending, Yoonji replied. It's the last survivor of a universe that existed before our own. When that universe died, this being somehow survived, but it was alone in the empty space between realities. The others listened in amazement as Yoonji continued. When our universe formed, the void found itself here, but it didn't understand our reality. It consumes stars and planets because that's how it survived in its own universe. It doesn't understand that it's destroying living worlds. Are you saying we should let it continue eating stars? Da-hyun asked, sounding doubtful. No, Yoonji said. I'm saying we might be able to communicate with it, to show it another way to exist. Jisoo's eyes widened. The anchor could be modified. Instead of just forcing it into our time frame, we could create a stable pocket of space-time. A home for it. A home where it wouldn't need to consume worlds to survive. Sumin added, catching on quickly. Can you really talk to it? Taiwan asked, Yoonji. Not with words, she replied, but with feelings, images. If you give me time, I might be able to make it understand. Suddenly, the ship shook violently. Dark tendrils began to push through the hull, reaching inside the ship itself. "We don't have time for this," Hyunwoo shouted. "The ship is breaking apart. Launch the anchor now," Da-hyun ordered. "No," Yeonji stood up. "Give me one chance to communicate with it. If I fail, then use the anchor." The ship shook again. Warning lights flashed everywhere. "Hull breach in Section 3, Ta-1 reported. We have minutes at most." Da-hyun looked at Yeonji's determined face, then at the others. 5 minutes, he decided. "You have 5 minutes to try." Yeonji nodded and returned to her seat. She closed her eyes and focused all her energy on connecting with the void. In her mind, she reached out toward the vast darkness around them. "We know what you are, she thought. We know you're alone and afraid, but you don't have to be asterisk." She sent images of Earth, of people living together, helping each other. She showed the void what it meant to coexist rather than consume. At first, there was no response. Then, slowly, she felt something huge and ancient touch her mind. Alone, came a feeling that wasn't quite a word. Always, alone, not anymore. Yeonji replied. We can help you, The others watched as tears streamed down Yeonji's face. The tendrils that had been forcing their way into the ship stopped moving. "It's working," Jisoo whispered. "She's reaching it." Yeonji opened her eyes. "It's listening. It's willing to try our way." "Modify the anchor," Da-hyun ordered. "Quickly." Jisoo and Soo-min worked frantically to change the device's settings. The ship continued to break apart around them. "Ready," Jisoo announced after 3 tense minutes. "Launch it," Ta-1 commanded. The modified anchor floated out from the ship into the darkness of the void. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the anchor began to glow brighter and brighter. "Everyone hold onto something," Hyunwoo shouted. A wave of energy burst from the anchor, spreading outward in all directions. The darkness around them began to change, becoming less dense, more structured. "It's working," Jisoo cried. But their damaged ship was now caught in the transformation. As the void changed around them, the humans could only hold on and hope to survive what came next. The ship spun wildly as waves of energy washed over it. Inside, the humans fought to stay conscious as forces pulled at them from all directions. "Hull integrity at 20%. Ta-1 shouted over the noise of breaking metal. Hyunwoo struggled with the controls. "Nothing responds. We're completely at the mercy of whatever's happening out there." The dimensional anchor had created a reaction far stronger than Jisoo had predicted. Around them, the pure darkness of the void was changing. Colors swirled where there had been only black. Patterns formed and shifted like a living thing. "The anchor is creating a stable pocket of space-time," Jisoo explained, holding tight to her seat. "But the process is more violent than I expected." Soo-min looked at the power systems. "We're losing life support. The main power core is failing." As systems failed throughout the ship, Da-hyun made a quick decision. "Everyone into survival suits, now." They scrambled to put on the special suits designed to keep them alive in space for a short time. The suits were their last line of defense if the ship broke apart completely. Just as Soo-min sealed her helmet, a massive crack split the main cabin. Air rushed out into the swirling colors of the transforming void. "Stay together," Ta-1 ordered through the suit communicators. But the force of escaping air threw them in different directions. Hyunwoo managed to grab Soo-min's hand, but the others were pulled away into the chaos outside. Yeonji found herself floating alone in a sea of swirling colors. Her suit's oxygen level showed she had about 1 hour of air left. But instead of panic, she felt a strange calm. The connection she had formed with the void was still there, stronger than before. "Are you still with me?" she thought. A feeling of confirmation came back to her. The void was still aware, still changing. Images filled her mind. Of a cocoon, of transformation, of something old becoming something new. The void was using the anchor to reshape itself. Meanwhile, Da Hyun and Taiwan had managed to stay together. They used their suit thrusters to stabilize themselves in the chaotic environment. "Can you see the others?" Taiwan asked, his voice crackling through the damaged communicator. "No," Da Hyun replied. "But look at what's happening to the void." Around them, the swirling colors were beginning to take shape. What had been formless darkness was now forming into something like a giant nebula, with beautiful patterns of light and color. "It's beautiful," Taiwan whispered. Jisoo floated nearby, though they couldn't see her. She was recording everything on her suit's data system. "The anchor didn't just stabilize the void," she said to herself. "It's transforming it into something new." Her suit scanner showed massive energy readings all around her, but none of it was harmful now. It was as if the void had changed from a destroyer to a creator. Soo-min and Hyunwoo had drifted far from the others. They watched in amazement as stars began to form within the transformed void. "It's like watching the birth of a galaxy," Soo-min said, awe in her voice. "But we're still in trouble," Hyunwoo reminded her. "Our suits have limited air, and we're scattered with no way to get back together." As if in answer to his concerns, Yeonji's voice came through their communicators, stronger and clearer than should have been possible with their damaged equipment. "Everyone, can you hear me? The void, or what it's becoming, wants to help us." "Help us how?" Da-hyun asked. "It understands now," Yeonji explained. "It understands the concept of giving instead of taking, of helping others survive." As she spoke, streams of light moved through the newly formed nebula. The light found each human and gently surrounded them. "Don't fight it," Yeonji said. "It's trying to bring us back together." The streams of light carried the humans through the beautiful chaos. Slowly, they were brought to a central area where they could see each other again. "Our oxygen is still running out," Taiwan pointed out. "Being together doesn't solve that problem." "Wait," Jisoo said, looking at something forming in the center of their group. "Look at that." The light was creating something solid, a sphere of energy that was growing larger by the second. "What is it?" Hyunwoo asked. "It's a way home," Yeonji replied with certainty. "The void is creating a portal for us." "Can we trust it?" Da-hyun asked. "I believe we can," Yeonji said. "It wants to repay us for giving it a new way to exist." As their oxygen levels dropped to dangerous levels, the humans faced a choice: trust the transformed void or die here in the beautiful nebula it had become. "Together," Taiwan said, reaching out his hands to the others. One by one, they joined hands in a circle. With a shared nod, they pushed themselves forward into the glowing portal, not knowing where it might lead. The portal felt like falling through warm water. Colors rushed past the humans as they held tightly to each other. Then suddenly, they were somewhere else. They landed gently on a smooth floor. Looking around in surprise, they found themselves in the grand chamber of the Galactic Council. Hundreds of alien faces stared at them in shock. "Impossible," whispered the Vexar Admiral. "We saw your ship destroyed. The void collapsed in on itself. You should be dead." The 6 humans stood up slowly, removing their helmets. They were alive, unharmed, and somehow back at the council headquarters. "Not dead," Yeonji said with a smile. "And the void didn't collapse. It transformed." The council leader stepped forward. "What happened?" "Our sensors detected a massive energy surge. Then the void simply changed." Jisoo explained what had occurred, how they had modified the anchor to create a stable environment for the void instead of trying to destroy it, how Yeonji had communicated with it and helped it understand a new way to exist. "It's not a destroyer anymore," she concluded. "It's become something new, something beautiful." On the main screen of the chamber, images appeared from the Proxima system. Where the dark void had been, there was now a glowing nebula of incredible beauty. Stars were forming within it, creating new life instead of consuming it. "The void itself sent us back here," Taiwan added. It created a portal to save us. The council was stunned into silence. For 50 years, they had fought the void as an enemy. Now, in just days, the humans had turned it into something new. You didn't just stop it, the council leader said at last. You transformed it. You gave it a purpose beyond consumption. We showed it what humanity has learned over our history, Dahyun explained. That cooperation can be more powerful than conflict. That understanding can overcome fear. The council erupted in discussion. Some were amazed, others doubtful. But the evidence was clear on their screens. The void was gone, replaced by creation rather than destruction. After the initial excitement died down, the council held a formal ceremony. The 6 humans stood on the central platform as the council leader addressed the gathered species. We invited these humans to observe our fight against the void, the leader said. Instead, they taught us a lesson we had forgotten over our long history. Sometimes, the greatest victory comes not from destroying an enemy, but from transforming it into a friend. The leader turned to the humans. The council extends to humanity full membership in our community, effective immediately. Earth will no longer be seen as a developing world, but as an equal partner in galactic affairs. Director Hae-Jun Kim, who had been brought to the council for the occasion, stepped forward. Earth accepts this honor with one condition, he said. We propose to establish an academy where humans can share our perspective with other species, and where we can learn from your wisdom as well. What would this academy teach? Asked a crystalline being from the upper tiers. How to see problems differently. Sumin replied. How to find solutions that don't follow the expected path. The human approach, Hiram added with a smile. The council approved the proposal unanimously. Within a year, the Interspecies Academy of Human Innovation became the most prestigious institution in the galaxy. Aliens from thousands of worlds came to learn how humans approached problems. At the entrance to the academy stood a beautiful monument, a sculpture of swirling light that resembled both the transformed void and the human DNA double helix. Beneath it was a simple plaque with words written by Taiwan Park. The stars called for heroes, so we sent our dreamers instead. As years passed, the nebula that had once been the void continued to grow and create new stars. The council named it the Human Nebula, in honor of those who had transformed a destroyer into a creator. Yunji visited it often, sitting quietly in an observation room on a council station. Sometimes she could still feel a faint connection, a sense of gratitude from the vast, beautiful entity that had once threatened everything. You're welcome, she would whisper to the stars. We all need someone to show us a better way sometimes. And across the galaxy, species that had once looked down on humanity now watched with new respect as human ingenuity, compassion, and determination changed the course of galactic history. Humanity had delivered heroes beyond anyone's imagination, not warriors who destroyed, but dreamers who transformed.